Welcome back to the PI Show, viewers. It's that time of the show when we've got Kathy's mailbag. Seeing you're on the show tonight, Kathy, it's pretty easy.
It is. It's a nice little transition.
Have you enjoyed it?
Yes, I have. I think it's been quite informative, and I'm hoping that viewers got something out of that as well tonight. So, yeah, but I do prefer being in this seat. So thank you for keeping me here, viewers. And we've got lots of questions.
Don't get too comfortable.
Why not?
As Tony
Viewers,
said.
please petition, keep me here. I'm going to go straight into the questions. As always, we have lots to answer. And also, I want to put the boys into the hot seat now, so it's not just me that was being questioned earlier. Dear PI Show, I have a query that relates to a friend of mine. My friend was in a relationship with a man who was recently killed in a workplace accident. It's very unfortunate. She's devastated and hurting, as we are for her loss. I was wondering if she was entitled to any death benefits. And this is, well, thanks, and it's from Susie in Ormond. Susie, our thoughts go out to yourself and your friend especially, as that's a very unfortunate circumstance, and it's a pity that workplace accidents actually can result into death as well. But John, how can we help out Susie, her friend?
Yes, Susie, your friend, she's entitled to work cover benefits as long as she's a dependent. Most likely your friend is. In this case, there's a lump sum entitlement and ongoing pension entitlements. And if there are children involved, entitlements for pension also.
And potential common law, John.
And potential common law for, again, where there's any wrongdoing on the part of either the employer or another
or a third party.
And superannuation, there's a superannuation death benefit applicable also, Tony.
So in addition to contributions that were made to his policy or fund,
you have
there'd be insurance as well in most cases.
You have your general account balance, which is a contribution made by the employer
at 9%.
And ourselves at 9%. And then you have an additional death benefit, Tony.
Yeah.
John, what constitutes a dependent in this case? Is it a de facto relationship, a husband-wife relationship, a spouse?
It's a pretty wide definition. Dependency could be two people living together, whereby one person is financially and maybe even socially dependent on the other person.
They could be financially dependent on each other.
Exactly.
Each other's incomes kick in.
Yeah, but there has to be.
And I'm not even sure if do you need cohabitation?
Not necessarily.
No, I don't think.
Not
I'm not sure if you do.
As long as you can show that there's dependency, Tony.
Yeah, I think that's right. Once upon a time, cohabitation probably was important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Now the rules have been relaxed in the sense that as long as you can show a dependency.
Contributing to expenses or each other's lifestyles and payment of this. And
joint bank accounts.
That's exactly right. I think you should get a lawyer's advice, don't you?
You need to seek a lawyer's advice because the claim has to be not only lodged with work cover, but you need court approval, Tony, for the pension and the statutory payouts.
That's exactly right. So
there's quite a few benefits that are obviously that Susie's friend is entitled
tragic,
to. So, well, we recommend that you seek advice, and we're again sorry to hear about the loss. I'll move on to the second question tonight from our viewer, and it's Dear PI Show. Last week, my juicer, which is 10 years old and still in good condition, exploded in my face, leaving me with a deep cut above my right eye. I needed hospital assistance and required stitches. They had hot glued the area because hard plastic rips skin. The scar is approximately 7 centimetres long and will leave scarring. I also received cuts to my left breast area, not to mention the emotional and psychological damage this experience has caused. I have before and after photos of my face and of the juicer itself. What are my rights? And this is from Melanie in Knox. Tony, this sounds a little bit complicated here.
Very,
but how can we help
Melanie?
It does. It's not.
Look, I think Melanie
7
might
centimetres
have
of scarring.
Yeah, for a female in particular.
Nasty injury, Tony.
It is a nasty injury. Look, I think she might have rights under the Trade Practices Act because goods are supposed to be of a merchantable quality and fit for their purpose, and obviously this thing exploding isn't exactly satisfying the test. So I would have thought that it might be a claim under the Trade Practices Act, and you've got to satisfy certain things under that as well.
It's a product liability claim,
Yeah, product
Tony.
liability.
There's
the good thing...
Strict time limits apply here.
3 years it applies, but the thing is, if you do fit under the Trade Practices Act, you don't have to prove if you don't go Trade Practices Act, you have to go under the normal common law principles, and it might be a bit complicated because you're going to have to show it's 10 years old. That's the thing that worries me. So
it could be out of warranty or fair wear and tear of the product,
or there's something that she may have done to cause the thing to explode.
Well,
Who
Tony,
knows?
maybe, but I don't think. But maybe even Victorian consumer laws may apply.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's complicated if you do go under normal common law principles because, as you all know, they can produce a lot of products and every so often something goes wrong. And that doesn't mean the company's at fault, but especially when the product is 10 years old, John. That's what worries me.
But
So
Melanie should seek advice on that.
I think so.
As further
Yes.
it's a
investigations
very
need
complicated
to
case
be
and
made.
she does need to get some advice.
It is a complicated case. However, you've got significant injuries.
So-
You need to seek a legal advice.
I think so.
Great. Well, we hope that's helped you, Melanie. Moving on to our third question for tonight. Dear John, Tony and Kathy, I was riding my bike along a main road at night. I hit a pothole and tumbled over the front of my bike, slamming my face into the cement. I have mild brain trauma and have to wear a halo for 12 months. Is this a traffic accident and am I entitled to any compensation? Thanks. And this is from Felix in Doncaster. Now, that sounds very, very nasty. I would be traumatised if that happened to me. But is this a traffic accident,
No.
John?
It-
Tony?
No,
Not under the Transport Accident
And
Act.
why is that?
it's got to be a registered vehicle.
It has to be a registered vehicle or there has to be a car involved. Here, that's not the case, is it, Tony?
No. What you'd have to do in this case, Felix, is get a lawyer to investigate your rights as against a road traffic authority, which could be Vic Roads or the local council, to work out what it was a pothole.
So it could be more of a public liability
It
claim
sounds
as
to
opposed
me-
to a TAC
Yes.
claim.
It sounds
Yes.
like a public liability claim in the sense that it'll be against the council and maybe Vic Roads, Tony.
Whoever the responsible highway authority is.
Probably both.
But the thing you've got to be careful of here is this. Even though they've got a lot of immunities when you're dealing with councils and highway authorities, because it's a pothole and there's a lot of road users,
Yeah.
you'd want to have a look at it pretty carefully because you'd think that there would have been complaints made about the pothole, and that under the Road Management Act you need
Exactly.
complaints.
Exactly.
And you also need to work out whether they did anything to try and rectify it.
And it depends on the nature of the pothole. If we're talking just a small little pothole, there's a few issues there. But if we're talking a very
reasonable-
large
yeah.
pothole, well, then reasonable aspects of the claim
The
kick
Road
in, don't they,
Management Act
Tony?
places a lot more restrictive, but you would want to see a lawyer in this one.
And we don't know if Felix was wearing a helmet as well, because that could play into contributory negligence as
Oh,
well.
yes,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
yes.
we're hoping that you were, Felix.
On the other
otherwise-
hand, if it was a motorbike, Transport Accident
That's
Act
it.
does apply.
And
Look,
that's
we're
because
getting
it's a
towards the end of the
registered
show,
vehicle.
guys. Yes.
That's
Kathy.
right. We are at that end again. Thank you again for writing in, and please keep writing in. Visit us at www.thepishow.com, and we will see you next week with more questions for us to answer for you.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank
you.
Stay
Good
safe
night.
and stay
Good night,
safe.
viewers.